physical therapy practices didn't have to care about the messaging because it was like every practice took every insurance. And, 10, 20 years ago, the insurances reverse adjusted for inflation were paying better then.
All right. Well, you and I were talking. You were coming in hot this morning before I hit live, and I said, "Let's just go live." You got it good. So set up, and then we'll ask the audience and Dave and myself our question.
Okay. So this is right in Dave's wheelhouse. I ask ChatGPT every Tuesday, Thursday morning while I'm waiting for my kids to take them to school. I'm like, hey, it's today's date, the PT Breakfast Club. What are some hot topics? And then I start brainstorming. One of the things that popped into my head, I said, well, wait a minute. Everybody wants to say the geriatric population lives on a fixed income. They can't afford cash-based therapy. They can't afford to pay for great service. And I was like, this makes no sense because on the other side of media, all I hear is the geriatric population, the baby boomers, they're hoarding all the wealth. They own all the homes, all of this negativity towards them. So I'm like, well, which one is it? And it got me thinking, I'm like, okay, I'm 50. I own a house, but even take me 10 years into the future, my house will be paid off. The stock market has been hitting all-time highs for 20 years. I've got a sub 3% mortgage interest rate on my house. So I'm like, it's not that they can't afford. It's that either we are not conveying the value of what we are selling, or they are, which a lot of us are, financially illiterate and don't understand how to access the value they possess. But when I look at the 65 plus community, I see a lot of people that own homes that have doubled or tripled in value since they originally purchased. I see a lot of people who have no student debt, no mortgage left on the home. If they do have a mortgage, it's because they refinanced that sub 3%. I see a bunch of individuals that we see teachers in the clinic every day that are retired with unreal benefit packages, free health care, stipends, all of this crazy stuff that we'll never see in our lifetimes, but because they were in the public sector working as a teacher 20 years ago, they retired. They have insane compensation packages, full salaries plus, and they don't have to work anymore. Yep. So my position is it's not that this population can't afford Dave's services. It's that either they choose not to because other therapists, not Dave, aren't communicating the value of what it is they are really selling, or the population that they're targeting is financially illiterate, which many of us are, I gotta admit, and they don't understand how to access the value in their home, the value in their portfolios without selling their stocks. They don't understand the value they have. All they see is a Social Security check that comes in and it's too low for them to live on. They don't realize they're sitting on a pot of gold that hasn't been touched for 30 years.
So yes. So agreed. And hey man, you can't take it with you. This does not mean I think you should empty the bank accounts. If you got kids or you want to leave a legacy or you want to fund the ASPCA, do that. So what you said was pot of gold, and I don't watch a ton of TV anymore, but when I do, I always hear it's always like some dude who was an actor when the audience they're talking to was 24. So like now we're at Tom Selleck, right? It used to be Wilford Brimley who was talking about diabetes, right? Yep. And they never changed it, which was smart because diabetes, right? So it was always the guy that was the guy like Magnum PI. Even half the audience is going, who the heck is Magnum PI? And you're right. So maybe what you're saying is right. I agree with you. But us saying it to them is like their kids saying it to them. That won't land. Maybe we need to hire our version of Magnum PI. Because what Magnum PI is doing now is invest in gold or whatever, or triple mortgage your house or whatever the hell the commercial is. Don't do that. That's not financial advice. But my point is, whoever is doing that is smart enough to know what Tony just said is true. They do have money, and I do want to access it. So let me talk to let me push on one of their fears, but not a random dude. This is where it's ROI positive to pay whatever Tom Selleck, Magnum PI, costs, because that person is Superman to them, or was the coolest guy in a Ferrari on the Hawaiian Islands being a private investigator while living for free in a mansion.
That always reminds me that what you just said, the way, because Tom Selleck, I think, is in these commercials now for the reverse mortgages. Have you guys seen these
whatever he's doing, I'm seeing him on TV going, oh, that's what he's now the guy. He's aged into that role.
Just as a complete aside, it's insane that they wrap the reverse mortgage and again, we talk about words and framing and wrapping. Like, literally a reverse mortgage is you sell your house to the bank and they're gonna give you money up front. You get to still live in the house, and then you now no longer get to give that house to your children. That's a reverse mortgage, but they just put two beautiful words together and they make it sound like a great thing. It's crazy, because I'm now speaking to friends that are in their 20s or 30s or 40s or whatever, and they are no longer getting their Brooklyn houses passed down from their grandparents because of a reverse mortgage. So they are not liking the reverse mortgage. And anyway, it's just part of this whole conversation about financial literacy.
If a mortgage is bad, a reverse mortgage,
it's got to be good. It's got to be good.
Sounds like the opposite. It's the reverse of bad. That sounds good.
But I mean, it's a little bit of, I don't want to say like sharky, kind of like, it's like these commercials are like, do you need cash right now for medical procedures, or like Tony said, like to live on, or whatever it might be? Have you considered a reverse mortgage? The bank will basically give you a briefcase and a Santa sack of money, and all you have to do is a couple things that we're going to put in the fine print. Including we're going to take your house, and as soon as you pass away, it's ours, and then we're going to sell it, whatever, and you don't get to pass it along to your children or grandchildren. Now, of course, if you don't have any children or grandchildren, I think it is a great idea. But if you have children or grandchildren, I don't know. It's a little bit of a not a little bit. It could be a big aspect of a family dispute. Let's just put it that way.
Correct.
What is your general thought, though, Dave? I had the stats, but I can't pull them up now. Like, one of the, populations, the decade age that's holding the most wealth, especially in regards to what I said, stock market appreciation, home ownership, housing appreciation, all of that stuff, is that like, it was either 60 to 70 or 70 to 80-year-old demographic. My question to you is, are we on the right track in the sense of understanding, look, these individuals have the wealth to pay for what is beneficial for them. They choose not to because we are sending the wrong message. We're communicating the wrong value proposition. They don't care about the things that we're trying to sell them. They have other desires. We just need to understand how to communicate to those desires. But the money is there.
The money is absolutely there, and it's, for the most part, as Jimmy will say on any podcast, it's all about communication and messaging and the message. So yes, so that's the thing. Historically, I know we've talked about this kind of intertwined a million different ways of like, historically, physical therapy practices didn't have to care about the messaging, because it was like every practice took every insurance, and 10, 20 years ago, the insurances reverse adjusted for inflation, were paying better then. And so you got away with it. You put up a shingle and people call and they walk by and they stop in, and the practice took every insurance under the sun. And you didn't have to do what we do now, which is have an organized sales process, do sales role play, I'm literally onboarding a new physical therapist right now. And yesterday we spent 3 hours talking about words, like literally what words to use and why it's important to say things like, hey, what are your expectations today of your first visit? And like all of these things to make a different experience. Before, physical therapy practice could get away with it. Now we're at a point where we want to like maybe get out of the payer system, or we're complaining about payment and reimbursement and all that. And now the words and the messaging and the positioning is more important than it ever has been before.
Yep.
Real quick, on that topic, we should do a full segment, not today, but in the future, on words and language and how we say it. I've got a patient right now who had some foot and ankle issues. She went to a large national chain, a shoe store. And the one that got me, she told me, she said, going in, I told my husband, be ready. It's probably going to be $200 or $300 for a pair of shoes that they recommend. I said, well, how much was it? She was like, $2,500 was the lowest recommendation, the lowest cost recommendation. She said, the thing that the guy told me, it was 45 minutes. They just keep pounding the same idea. She said, the thing that almost got me to say yes was the guy said, well, if your husband needed it, wouldn't you do it for him? And she was like, oh, it pulled at my heartstrings. I was ready to say yes when he told me that. And I'm like, okay, I get it. But other professions, other service providers, product sales, they understand how to communicate. They understand how to convey the value. And if you really believe, this goes back to marketing is ethical. If you really believe that you can change this person's life, you can keep them in their house 5 more years. You can improve the quality of those 5 years. What else are they going to spend the money on that is more valuable than their independence and freedom? I think about that every single day when I'm in the clinic.
And dignity.
Yeah.
It sucks, man. And it's the person who creates the life kit for helping your parents age is going to be like, you just throw money at that person if you can do it, right? Very, very good. Questions, comments, if you're watching live, drop them below. Which one should we do? Do you want to talk about this one LinkedIn post? We could do it quick if there's not a legs, but I thought this was good. This was Nick asking this question. It wasn't really a question. Well, it was. He was saying, our physical therapy clinic's missing out on a gym model opportunity that can provide steady revenue. He was saying he read up pens, yada, yada. Essentially, like, I feel like we've been talking about this, which is like, you're not going to get more money from the insurance company. I bet. I regret to inform you that is never coming. It's never going to go up. It's always going to go down. Like gravity. Count on it to go down. So he's saying, could we do this gym model? And I was like, I've heard this before. They don't want loud music. They don't want a gym, but could you make a nice gym? And I was like, yeah, Tony does this. Here's where I was like, I don't think that feels right. If a clinic invests $200,000 in equipment and charges $75 a month, that's $90,000 per year in revenue.
It's gonna take 2.5 years or whatever to make the money back, which is it's a lot of money.
And I was like, yes, you could. I think less than $5,000 in a Facebook marketplace, right? I mean, because
to get ramped up, and then you could always upgrade a little bit later.
I know we want the brand new Rogue squat rack and the Nike rubberized kettlebells that are nice that I keep seeing on my feed, but I think you need less than $5,000 of equipment. Like, what are the 2 or 3 people? I don't know, a stepper? I don't know. Like, I think you could do it less than $5,000. Tony, you're doing this. So, like, this is the thing I feel like you've been leading people to water about.
Yeah. Well, what was the original Larry Benz article? I don't remember that.
I don't remember either. He's putting in a lot of articles, which is good.
He is, yeah. So my thing with kind of, my understanding, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, Planet Fitness is like a $2 million investment. Yeah. So he's saying, would we make a 10% investment relative to that? I would say the problem with investing $200,000, and it's just an arbitrary number, is if you don't have a proven model. Like McDonald's has no problem opening, a new restaurant because they have a proven model, they have a proven formula. We know it's going to work. We know the price points, the demographic, the community. All of that stuff is there. When I see a therapist spending $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 on a new clinic, it breaks my heart because they don't have a proven model. They are really rolling the dice on that. Yes. Now, I got stuck in what you're saying. I got stuck in the $5,000 model. I buy broken equipment off of eBay because none of my patients have enough strength or mobility to use a $5,000 recumbent bike. They're good on a $500 or a $50 broken recumbent bike. Like, so don't use me as an example, but what I shared in the comments was the real value in that model is not the 75 or the 100 a month. It's in building the community, getting the people there, having access to, and the 3 things that I said were, if I have even 20 people, 50 people doing a program like that, they've all been patients already. Nobody from the community can walk in cold. It's only people that have been patients. So I kind of can handpick who's the best candidate for this self-pay program. We started at 30 in 2002. We're at 100 a month in 2026. But the idea is I can handpick the community. I can offer it to them with no obligation. There's no contracts. You can quit anytime. And by having these people in my clinic twice a week, usually they're there 30, 40 minutes. Some people like to stay a little longer. It doesn't hurt me. It builds the vibe of the clinic. You've seen videos of my guys that are bringing in joke books and making everybody laugh, and like it builds the vibe in the community. But then also, if I get a cancellation, I can reactivate one of those patients to fill that spot. I can use it as word of mouth marketing because they all have friends and families and communities. They have neighbors that are getting hip and knee replacements, rotator cuff repairs. They're telling them to go to tonal therapy. So I save the money on the marketing. I've got money that's there for missed visits, cancellations, reactivations, and I've got the word of mouth and the community, the vibe, So we've always had that in-house. It's always been net positive. The only thing, and I want to hear what you guys say about it, you have to have the staff that is willing to engage with these individuals. Jeremy, Kathy, Tony, we will talk, we will laugh, we will listen to their stories. I have had teams of therapists who believe if you're not a physical therapy patient, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to engage with you. Mentally, they can't handle it. Mentally, they don't have the bandwidth to acknowledge when another person walks in the clinic. And definitely they can't answer a question if it's not the patient they're seeing. I mean, we know that these therapists exist. They're so focused on the person in front of them. The rest of the world disappears. That is not a recipe for success. So
I wouldn't be able to not speak to the person. I'd be like, what's up, dude? You'd be like, Jimmy, I'll give you $100 if you could not talk to one person. I'd be like, okay. And I would last 7 minutes. And I'd be like,
you would be the person that thrives in that environment. You are not typical DPT in the workforce today.
Wow. Really?
Dave, what are you thinking?
I would fit right into this culture. I mean, I think you guys,
culture.
I would fit into, saying hello and welcoming folks in, but a little bit of that, I mean, that goes back to who you're attracting with interviewing and who you're hiring and all that. And, you could get a pipeline of those folks or qualified through DBT programs, the shadowing or the clinical rotations and all that type of stuff. So, I think what you just described, Tony, is so overlooked in outpatient physical therapy. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter if you're in network, out of network, cash, self-pay, whatever. But I've seen both ends of the spectrum, and there's one that offers a warm experience for most consumers, patients, clients. And the other one can be awkward, and people are not going to, people might do in-network a little bit, they'll be fine with in-network experience there, maybe some people, but they'll be less likely to pay out of pocket if it feels, cold or awkward so.
I'm still dumbfounded.
Now, what I think is interesting is, so we have Planet Fitness less than 5 minutes down the road. We have other opportunities around us, the YMCA. Across the street, there's an Anytime Fitness that has free silver sneakers. These individuals don't have to pay $100 a month.
Right.
But they've been with me for years and sometimes decades. And I ask them, I'm like, why have you chosen to continue to pay? A lot of times it's husband and wife. So they're paying $200 a month as a couple. Beauty. Why are you guys still paying? We don't have the equipment that they have across the street. We don't have the physical space that they have across the street, the amenities that they have across the street. And it's always the same thing. It's like, oh, I'm comfortable here. I know what I'm doing. You have the equipment and I have access to you so that if I have a question in passing, without taking away from the existing patient who's on an insurance plan of care, I can ask, and I can listen to how you talk to the other. They've told me I can listen to how you talk to the other patients and answer their questions. And they just feel like they're part of the family, and they really are.
And they're getting added value. If they're listening in on how you're speaking to some other patient about another condition, that's added value, because if they get that condition later, if their ankle swells up or whatever the thing is, they will then have a little bit more insight as to what's going on, or they're going to be looking at you again the next day and saying, hey, obviously you are my, consummate professional. You are my sage. You're my main therapist. And Of course, they're going to continue. This is why the price should be raised. I think everyone in the Ohio area, if I were there, I would say we're going to we're going to go $200 a month per person. I'm not going to ask for any fees or commissions, but I think there is significant value. And if people are not canceling, if people are not getting out of it, Tony, then I think it could be time to raise the price. Now, we already passed January 1st, so now you got to make up some other excuse in the near future as to why you would be potentially raising the price on them.
This is why, a vodka soda at my house costs me $2.60, but one at a bar costs me $9. This is Cheers. There are two. I live in a very small town. Dave and I went to one coffee shop. There's another coffee shop around the corner from me that I don't go to. And you might be like, well, why? So there's a couple differences. And they go right back to where Tony is. Now, I have a Dunkin' Donuts 8 minutes away. I'm not going there unless I need to drive through. And then I'm like, let's bag it out. Then there's two walk-in hometown coffee shops. I'll tell you about the one I don't go to. The counter is super high. I can't see the people working, and they can't see me, so we barely make eye contact, right? And there's a wall. I can't see what they're doing. And it's sort of staffed by a bunch of 25-year-olds who never talk to me. They're always talking to each other. I'm like, all right. They also make me pay before I go sit down. Like I might order like whatever, and they're going to make my coffee, right? They also only take cash. I paused there for like, what? Okay, I don't have any of that.
Apparently 20-year-olds don't like cash. Have you heard that? They're afraid of it?
It's not their place, though. It's someone else's. But whatever, you do you. Also, the seating is super weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it does not feel warm, right? Around the corner is the place that David and I went to, and I know David, the owner. I walk in, and I've been there a billion times, and he's had 5 or 6 people work the front desk. All of them have the same vibe, which is like, hey, what's up? Even if they don't know me, they're like, hey, good.
They say hello when we walked in.
Yep. Which is so minor, but sometimes you have to teach that. And then after 5 or 6 times, I am nothing if not consistent. I don't have the same damn thing every time. When there's a line, I just sort of nod at David or the person at the front, and they go, I'll bring it to you. And then I go open my laptop and do the thing. And I don't even care how long it takes to get there. I don't want to wait in line. Do that. Take 50 people. And they got it and they bring it back and they're like, pay when you're checking out. And I'm like, that is different. And
the countertops are low, and there's no separation between church and state. You can see what's going on, and it's very open.
They take a card, right? Like when my dad comes in, they're like, oh, we got ginger ale in the back. I'm like, right. My dad doesn't do that. He does ginger ale. Like, why do I go there? I could get ginger ale and coffee cheaper. This applies to your people. This is still, I know you're fancy and you went and got a degree in this fancy thing. I'm not fancy. Still deliver the basic thing.
You're still serving consumers, yeah.
Humans with brains who pick.
How long has that place been around, and how long have you been going?
I don't know. I'd have to look. I've been going for 5 since I moved back to this area, so 2020.
See, I think the challenge in this is it's very easy for me to be like, this is what I do and this is how you can do it. I've been around 25 years. I've been here since 2007. Now, was it like that in 2007 when I opened this location in this town for the first time? No. There was a decade of struggling and begging and send me people and I'll do anything it takes. And then slowly we started to build that history of people coming back like Jimmy, of knowing what this person wants and that person wants and knowing why this person is really here. Now, fast forward from 2007 to 2026, it's super easy for me to be like, yeah, 20, 30,000 in recurring revenue annually because people are willing to pay $100 and not go down the street to pay 15. But we got to acknowledge, like, it was a lot of hustle and a lot of struggle and a lot of frustration and thinking you're on the edge of closing down to get to this point. So I don't know. I don't know how you resolve that as a new practice starting today.
Simple, not easy. Like, I've talked before. We'll talk inside baseball, right? Like, I've had large organizations sort of talk to me over beers and be like, we have a 9-person marketing staff. How come our podcast, what are we doing wrong? And I was like, okay, you have 14 people that need to approve every episode. So I use the gallon of gas analogy. If I had 2 gallons of gas, you have to keep making compromise that's pouring a little bit. It's just a tablespoon of water in the gas, and then another tablespoon of water in the gas, and another tablespoon of water in the gas. I don't I have gas, flame, fire. By the time you pour your gas on the fire, it's a little watered down. I don't know if it's catching fire at all. It's a cop-out. Also, I do 2 a week every week for a decade, like Tony's saying. Do you want to be where I am? Great. Jump in your DeLorean, go back 10 years and do exactly what I did. But don't, because you can't do exactly what I did in your version of that. So this is simple, not easy. This is building a house. Every day is a brick. One brick.
And Tony, did you say 20 or 30K per month recurring? So that means you have around 200 or 300 people paying?
I said annually, or I should have.
Okay. Got it.
For us, for our footprint, for our size, we were usually, and even still are, somewhere around 20 to 30 active members, $100 a month. So at 100, for whatever that comes out to.
Okay. All right. Change topic real quick.
Oh, yeah. we also are we on a slow advertisement day, Jimmy? We're not paying the bills today. No advertisers.
My apologies. No, I had a good one for this one. Sorry. This is brought to, there it is.
Our advertising partners are going to get mad at us. Here we go.
Yeah. It's brought to you by Jim Fogg. Yeah. Jim Fogg, smells like eucalyptus, liability waivers, and just a hint of tiger balm. You spray this all around your clinic. It's not a gym, we swear. Aromatic mist of eucalyptus, liability waivers, and tiger balm. Transform your clinic, mask the gym. Jim Fogg. Visit us online and get the diffuser for free when you buy 12 months of the tiger balm scent aromatic mist. Jim Fogg.
I can't believe you know what tiger balm is. I thought I was the only person.
Tiger balm is that stuff that's like, what's wrong with you? That works on it. I have this, that, it works on that too. Yeah, just rub it. You just got to rub it harder. Like, think about that. That's so great. Like, rubbing stuff does make it feel better. Does it fix it? Not really. But your thing is like, but you put it on and you rub it. How smart is that? Be the thing that you have to pay in between, and you're like, it does feel better. It's like, I know.
I just found out that BioFreeze is available on TikTok Shop.
Of course it is, right?
So now I need to go start getting some BioFreeze back in the clinic. We haven't used it in like 20 years and start selling it.
It's crazy that BioFreeze is so big because it's basically just like menthol, right?
This would be a great breakdown for us. Bengay, Tiger Balm. There was another one that was really popular, like in the consumer landscape. What BioFreeze did differently was they were only available in physical therapy, chiropractic clinics. They weren't selling direct to consumer until recently. And now they're on TikTok, which, I've never seen that before. So like that would be a great business analysis to see how they grew, because everybody in the 80s and 90s was using BioFreeze.
I got it. It's on the list. Okay. I wrote it. All right, we'll do that. I also have bad words in physical therapy. We're going to do an episode on words. And BioFreeze, Tiger Balm versus Bengay. I can already see the thumbnail. Now I'm starting to think like Tony told me to think 2 years ago. I was like, think of the thumbnail, but like bang, bang, bang.
Hey, it's Dave Kittle. Are you a healthcare business owner or physical therapy practice owner who is looking to figure out your succession plan or exit strategy? We might be able to help. And in fact, we may be interested in acquiring your practice. If you're interested, you can reach out to me. Shoot me an email at dave@conciergepainrelief.com. That's DAVE@CONCIERGE painrelief.com. Or you can call me at any time, 646-781-8884.